Yeah, well, here I am, Sunday afternoon. Just pondering over things, not doing anything too major today. Now, rain is going to fall on the roof. Just looking at the intake manifold. You can see they line up pretty well. The spacings is pretty good. If you want to make an adapter, this is a Mustang, and this is the Jeeps. The only problem is the Mustang, the Ford, has one bank about half an inch further offset. The Jeeps are more even. I'm not sure how that is done because they're both V8, similar size, pistons, everything. If these are the same distance apart, how can they be more offset? I'm not really sure. It must have something to do with the crank and the thicknesses of the rods, that they're a bit more over one side is shifted over a little bit more than on the Jeep. That's not a big problem if you're making an adapter plate, right? So what I'm contemplating, guys, is getting a nice single plane metal intake manifold and making some adapters to bolt it to the Jeep engine, a metal one. And there is quite a variety available for the Mustang. Ram Air even has adapters for a 99 to 04 Mustang, the Cobra Mustang engine, but there's very limited option available for intake manifolds. There is one, an Eaton intake manifold, but I don't really like the looks of it. It kind of looks old-fashioned. I want it more, something a bit more, modern and more, not all go into one place in the middle and then spread out. So, what do you call it? I forget what they're called now. But anyway, a bit more modern intake manifold is what I was after. So, whether I make one completely on my own, that's an option. A lot of time, but an option. I've got the equipment, I can do it. Or do I buy one? Do I buy a Performance Ford one? Right? See if I can find one and put it up on the screen for you as an example. And do I modify that, or do I make spacers for that? Now, spacers will be hard. If the offset's a bit more, that means I have to have, they're also a little bit wider. They're also about a centimeter wider, right? So I'm going to have tapered spacers. But if I get a metal intake manifold, I can cut and weld and modify the risers to fit the Jeep. Making them go inward a little bit is the easy part. Offsetting them less is probably the bit harder part. So I'm a bit confused to what to do. I don't really want to use this, or a later model one, preferably with shorter runners, because I want the power up top, not just down below. These are made for long runners, for low down torque, and the short runners means high end power. So a single plane would be perfect. Whether that makes a lot of difference boosted, I'm not 100% sure, but that's always been the way. But I mean, look at the size of that thing, man. It's enormous. Like, I've thrown it out now. The one I cut in half, the runners are just enormously long on these, massively long. This one here, the Ford Mustang, is a good manifold, but as you can see here, it has these vacuum actuators, and at certain stages it changes the length of the runners, and so it's got working parts inside, and you know, it's got these plastic flaps that open and close, and you don't want that when you're boosting an engine. You don't want more parts inside the manifold, and you definitely don't want any of that stuff to break under pressure. So not a good idea to use a manifold like that. Otherwise, you know, I'd probably easily make some plastic spacers, you know, and make it fit, but not ideal. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like, have you seen anything better than the AirRam Eaton setup? Should I make my own completely? I don't really have a problem with that. I have the skill, I believe, to do that. I've got MIG welders, plasma cutters, TIG welders. I'll probably just make it out of stainless or mild and then powder coat it, just for easiness to work on. I hope that rain is not affecting the camera too much. So yeah, just looking again at this engine. This is perfectly flat across here, which is kind of unusual because older style V8s, they have the intake manifold and they're like on an angle, you know. But these are perfectly flat, which makes it easy to make a set and not have to worry about angles. So yeah, inside these manifolds still look pretty decent. You know, they're not, I don't see any crap in there, not a lot. It wouldn't have been running too good with the rocker that was off. But yeah, soon enough I'll pull the heads off and really know what it was like. I have a feeling it was a really good engine. I think it was a really good engine, so that's alright, it'll be even better when I'm done. So yeah, still have to get the right length bolts for the bell housing. I thought I was wrong. I thought maybe these were for the engine, but the thread is different. So no, they're definitely not for, I thought maybe they're for to put through here, but they're not to go through here because they don't screw into the engine. So they're definitely for here, and they're 100% too short. So that's a bit of a pain, because I need to work out the pilot bearing still, and I need to work out, make sure that the thrust bearing is the right distance from the clutch, right, so that it will actuate properly. There's the style of bearing that it needs a gap, and there's a style of bearing that always has the bearing running on the clutch, which is this style, which means there's a little bit of pressure on the fingers of the clutch all the time, and the bearing spins with the engine. If the bearing is good quality and it has no problems and you don't have to change them all the time, not a problem. But in the old days, if that happened, the bearings didn't last too long. They'd all get noisy in no time if the bearing was riding on the clutch. But these days, I guess everything gets better over time, huh? The design, the materials, metallurgy is getting so much better. So okay, well, that was my dilemma today, was thinking ahead for when the time comes. I mean, there's not a hurry. I'm not in a hurry for the intake manifold. Worst come to worst, I can use the factory one, you know, until I think of something better. But I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to use that with the turbos. It's a massive thing, isn't it? Look at the length of those runners, man. That's crazy. So, yeah, if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. I would love to hear if you have a better idea. But yes, I'm aware of the AirRam spacers they have for the 99-04 Cobra Jet 4.6 litre Cobra Jet engine. But like I said, there's very limited intake manifolds for that model there. But for the Mustang, there's loads. You know, there's lots available. So do I just make a spacer? Just get a chunk of aluminium and make my own spacer up? Or do I just modify an intake manifold? Or do I just make one from scratch? Well, that will take me a long time. I mean, I'm not in a hurry. This project won't be done by this year. No way. I mean, possible, I guess, but I don't think so. Still have to go on a holiday this year as well. So, anyway, just thought I'd update you on what I'm doing, let you know what I'm up to. It's always nice to do regular uploads, and thank you all for watching. I enjoy sharing this process with you. I really do. I enjoy it, and I love your feedback. I enjoy the back and forth talking, discussing, and I guess that's what I like about YouTube, is the sharing. Makes me enjoy it more. My wife and daughter, they're not really into it, so I can share it with you guys if you don't mind, and I really appreciate it. So please give it a like and subscribe. My subscribers are going up, my views are going up, and which just means that people appreciate what I'm doing, and I appreciate it. So let me know any ideas. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.